Welcome back to the Recap Show. On today's episode, we will be talking about why history matters. And we will be joined by U.S. Women's National Team legend and Bay FC co-founder Leslie Osborne for an athlete to founder interview brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. And now, let's kick things off with the kickoff.
Welcome back to the Recap Show. Today, we are kicking off the episode talking about the history of women's sports, or should I say the lack thereof?
The lack thereof.
Okay, I'll say it. The lack thereof.
It's very dramatic. Okay, let's talk about it because I am just really passionate about this right now.
You are.
To give some context, I was over in the UK for the Arsenal-Chelsea match. I met up with my dear friend, Kosofari Aslani, who is an absolute legend, now playing for the London City Lionesses, which is really cool. Really cool project, a Michelle King project. Anyways, sidetracked again. But we were chatting and she was saying how this next generation of players don't know the greats before them. And it was crazy. She was like, yeah, I was talking to this young Swedish player and I brought up Lotta Schelling, which, you can probably say that better in Swedish, but and this player had no idea who she was. And for us, it's like, this was one of the greatest nines ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy. And then it's not the fault of this generation. It's the fault of the fact that that history is almost non-existent because, the games weren't televised. All the games weren't televised. We didn't have social media. So you didn't get to see all these little clips of the favorite players that just get played over and over again. I was in the UK, I was watching retro Premier League games. There's no retro, international games being played, women's international games
you
being
think
played.
about football classics and you think of a grainy picture and a great goal and men wearing little short shorts.
Yeah.
But what do you think of for women?
Yeah.
There is no football classics.
Yeah.
The greatest games, even at a World Cup or Olympics,
Yeah.
they're not getting replayed. Do they even exist?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, exactly. I remember when Pia Sundhage became our coach of the national team, and everybody was like, "Wow, she was this Swedish international great player, forward, very dynamic, a character." And I remember going on YouTube and typing in Pia Sundhage just to find a glimpse of what she might have been as a player, because that matters to me then, as a coach. And then we had Hege Riise, this incredible Norwegian player. They were oh, she's a 10. She was known for these this incredible vision on the field. And I go on YouTube and I'm Hege Riise, and there's nothing, And for me, I just started getting really passionate about this because I was we need archives, we need history, we need these hardcore or hardwood classics that the NBA has. We need everything around women's sports, and we need it now because I don't want this history to get lost. I want everyone to know what Lotta Schelling, how she played as a number 9, her dynamic runs. I want everyone to be able to see it, and I want it to be passed down. And I want the young girls who are aspiring to be the next number 9 to be able to go back and watch this great player, because that is sports. Sports is rooted in storytelling and history. And I want to reclaim our history because it's not there. And I want it to be replayed in front of all this next generation because that's really important to me.
Okay, so I love what you said about storytelling, because if you think of documentaries that are going to be made about players, when they're older and they're done, how can you tell your story if we can't see it?
Yeah.
And you think of the Beckham documentary and all the old footage.
Yeah.
And it also made me laugh because, now everything's going to be more accessible. Amazing. It's going to be caught on TV, your iPhone, it's going to be on TikTok. It's going to be in the digital land forever and ever.
Yeah.
But even with us, we were just talking about how I have scored in the last 100 games that I played a certain type of goal. And so now I'm really proud of it. I'm like, this is my kind of goal and this is how I score. But we went back last season when I was injured and the season before and watched all my goals, watched my own little history. And I saw myself playing in a completely different way than I play now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even like redefining for myself.
Yeah.
And that is because it was available.
Yeah. And like I hear people talk about you as a player now, and they talk about you in the last 5 years of your career. And I'm like, which is great. I mean, phenomenal. You've been phenomenal your whole career, but like,
Thank you.
You're missing out on some of the best parts of her game. And like people like you were forced to turn into a winger. People are like, no, Christen Press is a winger. I'm like, have you lost your damn mind? Like go back into the history books that clearly aren't there. But like Christen Press was forced to become a winger. She was forced in order to be a U.S. women's national team player. It was the only way that she was going to make the team is to be versatile and to be a winger. And now everybody's like, oh, that's her position.
Adapt or die.
Adapt or die. But the truth is, Christen Press, for the first 20 years of her career, whatever it is an out and out 9, straight up. And she scored her goals from so many different ways because when you play in a different part of the field, you therefore find yourself in front of the goal in a different way. And I love the version that everyone thinks you are today because it's a beautiful version of football. But I love every version of Christen Press in your journey. And like, that's what I want everyone to know is like the journey, to be able to follow somebody's entire career and see the evolution and not just see what's on social media now.
Yeah. Well, the art of the 9, a topic for another time. But I will say the best part about this whole conversation for me is when you use the word journey and history as synonymous, because it's not just flip this on its head, Tobin, your history, but it's your journey to who you are today. And that doesn't just include you as a player. It also includes the players that you admired and you watched and those WPS games that you went to that Lord even knows if we can find them. But we're going to try.
Yeah.
We're going to try. We're going to try to make some football classics.
We're going to do it.
You know what? I think all the women were wearing really long shorts because they were actually men's shorts.
Whatever they were doing, it was cool. And it's now iconic. And I want to see it.
The Recap Show is proud to be partnered with Intuit QuickBooks to tell the stories of athletes and their growth as small business owners. Today, we will be joined by Leslie Osborne. Tobin, tell us about Leslie.
U.S. Women's National Team legend, co-founder of Bay FC, and co-host of the new podcast show, Redefined.
She's a lot of coast like us.
She's a lot of coast.
Let's bring her in.
Welcome, Leslie Osborne.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for having me.
All here. So this idea of history, and we actually just spoke about like why history is so important and how we need to do a better job with our history, our sports history, in particular, our soccer history, our football history, because we played in the dark ages of women's sports of not to date ourselves. We're talking about like 10 years ago, people.
Thanks.
Like where like, you guys.
I'm so cool and young and hip, okay? It wasn't that long ago.
Dark age. I told you that was you're being a little bit harsh.
No, I understand.
Like the
before social media, before the
before. Do you remember with national team? People are going to be like, "What?" Like there were times that with the national team, we didn't have every game on TV.
No.
It would be like
Portugal,
I remember asking,
Algarve.
like
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I remember asking
We couldn't even
Heath,
watch film.
No.
Yeah.
And there were 30 people in the stands.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, I remember asking Heath, being like, "Oh, is this a TV game?" You know, like, should I
It's a
tell
big deal.
my parents if this
Yeah.
one's going to be on TV?
No.
You know? And now that's like, that sounds like insane to think like, oh, there was a time when like the national team, you wouldn't be able to watch them play.
Yep.
And like, even with our league, and you mentioned social media, that completely changed the landscape of women's
Everything.
sports because all of a sudden you had direct access to your fans. You weren't at the kind of whims of traditional media being able to market you to your fans.
Yeah.
You could actually just go straight to your fans and they could know who you were and what you were all about without this big article in the good old newspaper, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's such an interesting concept because, you know, we're in this transition, this passing of the torch to the next generation. And I'm a little bit sitting in the middle of it.
You're a tweener.
Exactly. I'm a tweener and of the dark ages and the light ages, I guess. But they don't know like how we got here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we just wanted to have the opportunity to share who you were. And we want everyone watching the show to know who you are. You're obviously an incredible player with an incredible career. And, you know, we had the luxury of playing with you and seeing you and watching you, but those who didn't, how would you like them to remember you as a player?
Ooh. Well, let me throw it back to you both. How would you describe me as a player?
Oh my gosh. You go first.
So gritty and hardworking, slide tackles.
I couldn't help it.
And a really strong cut. You would cut, your cut got people on skates every time.
You knew it was coming, but
you knew she was going to do it and it still worked.
I know.
Fearless.
Wow.
For sure.
Good one.
Yeah, I would.
And a team player, like the ultimate team player.
Thank you. I think that probably means the most. As a player, I feel like you always knew what you were going to get out of me. I was going to give you 100% every time I stepped out on that field, no matter what we did. My work ethic was something that I go back to, like my blue collar, like root from Wisconsin. Like that was just ingrained in me, and I was passionate and I gave everything I had. And I think I was good in the air. I was a good slide tackler. I was good on the ball. And I think I was versatile. And that's why I loved playing so much. And I had so many experiences, and why I probably fit into different teams is because I could play multiple positions. But the most important thing is the way that I hopefully made people feel as a teammate, but also why people wanted me to be their teammate is I was a winner, and I was competitive, and I was going to give you everything I had. And I don't know. I think that that's just part of who I am, no matter what I'm doing. But yeah, those football days were the best days. I wish I would have enjoyed it more in the moment if I could go back.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because I was actually recently in the UK, and I, of course, was jet lagged. I was up really late, and I turned on Sky that was like retro Premier League games. And I was like, oh, what an amazing thing to fall asleep to. Retro Premier League. Yeah. And I'm watching all these old school players that I just loved. And the game looks different, but you like love it. The players are playing a little bit different. The style is different. Like their shorts and their jerseys are like, and this is what got me really thinking about this. And I was thinking, like, for your girls, like we always talk about how did we actually have those memories as young people? Or did we just see the pictures? Did we just hear the stories about ourselves? And therefore we were like, oh, that's what I remember about my childhood. Yeah. And that's why I believe that history is so important. So when we shout out like you and your history, like, because for your girls and for all football players that came after you, everyone should know who you are, because we should have the stories. We should have the pictures, and those should be replayed over and over again. And that's sports. That's how you get history. And that's how, when you turn on a game, you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that play because, you know, my mom told me about that play. Or like, I actually like can see how my mom was when she was a player, because I have all these people that come up to me and they tell me, you know, because they watched it or they're rewatching it, you know, and like, I just want to take a moment to actually say like who you are as a player, so that everyone that's listening to the recap show knows Leslie Osborne and actually goes and tells their daughter or their son about Leslie Osborne, and they can continue to pass down that history of an amazing player, you know, that doesn't like a lot of us don't have that, you know, the the games that were on TV, the social media numbers, like, and this is important to our sport and actually to the future of our sport is for people to know who you are.
Well, listen up because I'll be tested later.
Leslie Osborne.
Oh, you're actually really.
I'm doing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wisconsin native, which for all you Wisconsin people, that means something.
Yeah.
You know, that's
you
like
saying?
kind of like pounding the chest, like, yeah, that's my girl.
How do you know?
Yeah. It means something. When you say what you're from Wisconsin, like it means something.
You say it
You're
really
right.
hard.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Wisconsinites.
When you said hard working, I
Yeah.
don't think any player could come out of Wisconsin and not be a hard-working player.
True.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
national champion.
Yes.
Was that the first national championship in
Yes.
Santa Clara history?
My freshman year.
It's incredible.
And Allie and Danielle, my co-founders for Bay FC, were my captains.
Wow.
I know. And Brandy was a volunteer coach.
We will get back to that.
Yeah.
But that is
Yeah.
really. Okay, club career. FC Gold Pride, WPS.
Yes.
Did you win a championship there too?
No.
Boston Breakers, WPS.
Yes.
Which iconic franchise, by the way. The
Yeah.
Boston Breakers
Oh.
were the OGs of
They were.
OGs.
They were.
And great players that played for Boston.
Yeah.
Chicago Red Stars, NWSL.
Yeah. 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
2 weeks.
No, 2 leagues.
2 weeks.
Oh, I was like,
You're like,
oh,
2
we made
weeks?
it 2 weeks? I don't remember that part of the history.
No, yeah, that's what happened in the early days.
that one out.
In the early days of NWSL, 2 weeks.
2 week long season. That's all we could afford.
Yeah, that's all of it. Oh.
Okay, U.S. Women's National Team, 61 caps.
Yeah.
Part of the 2007 World Cup team.
Yeah.
What would you say of, which is extraordinary, by the way, like total gal. What would you say was the highlight of your career when you look back on it and you're kind of replaying a moment that you're most proud of in your playing career? Is there something that comes back? Is there a flashback? Is there a moment?
Yeah. The U19 World Cup, playing with still my closest friends.
Gonna
in
write
front
that
of-
down.
Yeah. In Canada, Edmonton, we played in front of 60,000 people, and about 59,000 people were cheering for Canada, but we were all red and white, and we just told ourselves they were cheering for us.
Oh my gosh.
And it was against Christine Sinclair and a lot of the Canadians that, just hung out their boots. And I think I was a freshman and sophomore in college, and I think that moment to represent my country, to play in front of 60,000 people at that age, really was a life-changing experience for me.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped propel me into becoming the person, leader, and player I was. And it was with my closest friends, and a lot of those teammates are still close friends of mine today. And I think that if we can put younger women in those situations to play in front of that kind of crowd with that sort of pressure to represent your country, there was nothing more special to me. And when I look back at my career and I tell my girls about my playing days, like, that was where it all started for me. And I think that helped just propel everything else to come that I didn't know was coming.
Okay, now flipping the script. Kristen and I were speaking about you because you did not slow down. And even when you were still playing, you to us come to mind as the first player that was an entrepreneur.
Yeah, what made you think I want to start a company?
So can I backtrack a little bit to
Yeah.
get to this point? Because I think
Yeah.
it's really important for
Please,
everybody
yeah.
listening. So when I made that 2007 World Cup team, had a great World Cup, I got cut in 2004. I so badly wanted to make 2008 Beijing. And that's when you and I were teammates. And I was playing the best. I was in my prime. I was at the top of my game. And I made that team. And a couple days later, I tore my ACL and I tore all the ligaments in my ankle. And it was at that time where a lot of the doctors said, you're never going to play at the same level again. And one doctor said, we'll get you back out on that field.
Oh.
So my surgery was 5 hours, 4 was on my ankle, 1 was for my ACL. And it was a very, very dark time. As you both know, who have gone through very serious injuries, it was probably the deepest and darkest time I've ever gone through. My teammates wanted to be there for me, but I didn't want to be around anybody.
Mm-hmm.
To rehab, to watch you guys win gold was very, 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 very difficult. And I don't wish it upon anyone. However, looking back, it was a blessing in disguise. It gave me 18 months because I did get back out on the field.
Hell yeah.
It gave me time to figure out what I enjoyed, what I was passionate about. I felt like prior on the national team, if I was interested in something, I was looked down upon like, oh, she's distracted. She's not fully committed. She's not invested in what we're doing here. And I felt like that 18-month period, I didn't know how long it was going to be. It gave me an opportunity to figure out what would wake me up the way that soccer woke me up my entire life. And that's when I started to get into TV broadcasting. I started working with grassroots, and I started to think about starting my own company and getting this entrepreneurial spirit that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
So fast forward, when I got back out on that field, I never played for the U.S. team again, except for that 2010 stint when you guys didn't qualify for the World Cup and I had to fly to Italy.
No,
do you remember that and help you? Yeah. I was supposed to be running. I was supposed to be running the Boston Marathon, and Pia called me and was like, I need you to come to Italy. The team, we're in a bad place.
That's kind of incredible though.
Yeah. So I didn't run the marathon, and I went to Italy to help just bring everybody together, because that's what I did then.
Oh my gosh, so cool.
Yeah.
Really
But
cool.
I never played for the U.S. team again. I never played in a World Cup or Olympics again. My career ended very differently than a lot of people that I had been playing with. However, I got to play professionally for 5 more years. And what it did give me the ability to do is do other things. I thought at the time when I saw teammates who had retired, I saw a lot of them depressed. They lost their identity. They didn't know who they were outside of soccer. And that scared the out of me. And I didn't know if I wanted to coach. And so I wasn't going to rely on coaching if I didn't even know that that's what I wanted to do. So during that time, I came to Boston, and my teammates and I, we started Sweat Cosmetics, which is now Hustle Beauty. And I don't think that that company would have happened without me having that time, figuring out what I was passionate about and where that entrepreneurial spirit came. I almost went to business school, and I wish I would have. And now I'm like doing all these venture capital classes and doing all this business stuff. I went to the Harvard Business School's program this fall because I'm still inspired. I'm still like, I have that itch to keep growing, to keep learning. And I think us 5 starting that company back in 2015, I think it was the first company from professional athletes.
Yeah.
And what is so cool now is when I look at the national team and I look at you gals, it's like there's so many of you that have their own companies, hosting their shows, that are owners of teams, that are involved in so many things that 10, 12 years ago, that was not the case. So I think a few reasons got me to this point, but what I do know is that's why I'm so passionate about getting players involved in other things outside of playing their sport. Because you don't know, I'm preaching to the choir, you both have experienced what I experienced, but you don't know when you're going to get hurt. You don't know when it's going to be over. And how have you prepared for that? And what else are you passionate about? So I'm so happy that we're in this place now where so many players are active in so many different ways, and that they're encouraged to have entrepreneurial spirits, to go to school, to start their own companies. I mean, we are in this amazing ecosystem now. And if I was part of the beginning of that and encouraging and inspiring other athletes to do that, I would do it over and over again.
Wow.
I mean, it's so beautiful.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
We've had
I'm
a lot
inspired.
of amazing guests sit here with us, and that really just is maybe my favorite moment of ever from the recap show.
I plus one that.
And like, I'm pretty sure Tobin has glossy eyes again. But you know, there's so many things I want to respond to. I obviously had a 2-year recovery. That was the greatest gift.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering, but I'm also still discovering myself in a way that football, when it is life, it actually is suffocating because we're taught to cut everything else out. Don't feel, don't think, don't do, play. And so these things happen to us, and it's just like a door opening.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to Chicago in year 2. So I think you had just left.
I just left.
And some of your co-founders were still on my team.
Yeah.
And I wore your sunscreen, you know. And
Thank
I
you.
didn't even know what it meant that you started a company.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand what it meant, like
Yeah.
to be a founder.
Yeah.
It wasn't for 5 years, maybe later, that I even understood that.
Yeah.
So you really were a visionary in that.
Thank you.
And of course, you're an amazing entrepreneur, founder. You've done so many projects since then. But also what I'm hearing is that like you're valuing yourself as a full person. Like, of course, you're successful and you're ambitious and you're going for it, but you're also like, what do I like?
Yeah.
What do I want?
Yeah, because you actually referenced too, like the coaching thing, which I feel like, back in the days, the option seemed like very like narrow for where you would go after playing. Like, especially if you wanted to continue as a professional, obviously, we have like the family route, and then it's like, or you could coach, like, or you could go into broadcasting. And it felt like those were kind of like,
those were the options.
You're like, that's it? Like the world is so abundant. There's so many different like things, and like that's what I'm limited to. And it almost felt like you would kind of have to just be like, okay, I guess I'll do that, and I just want to thank you because like you gave options, you gave new worlds, you gave, new ways to build these beautiful structures that are now thriving. And
I also love what you said about, instead of thinking about kind of retirement and then rebuilding, like you were thinking like, what is going to make me feel like football?
Yeah.
That's cool. It's not like, oh, what's second best or like what,
Yeah.
So it seems like throughout your career and the phases of it, you've always been looking for something that is like making you tick.
Yeah. I think when I retired, I was actually most excited about my next chapter. And a lot of, when I announced my retirement, so many people were like, oh my God, good luck. I wish you the best of luck. Yeah. And I was like, I'm so excited because I have opportunities, because I've put in the work. I networked. I used my platform as a professional athlete. I talked to venture capitalists in Boston. I went to meetings that I had no business in, but I put myself out there. I got myself to a point where not only was I retiring and going, now I'm retired. It was like, no, I'm going to go be an associate athletic director at Santa Clara. I'm a co-founder in Sweat Cosmetics, and I'm broadcasting for Fox Sports. I was like, let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Chapter 2. And that's why I think it's so important. And if I helped create an avenue, you both are doing the same. And I think if you see it, you can be it. I say it all the time because it's so true. But now that we have so many incredible people doing these things, it's like, okay, as a player, it doesn't feel as intimidating to go, well, I don't know if I want to go into broadcasting or a coach, but look, I can be an entrepreneur. I can host my own podcast. I can be a real estate agent. Like, I can go to medical school like Rachel Bueller. Like, there's so many avenues now that women are reimagining. Wow. But it's true. And so, you both are doing the same. And I think that if you can find that passion, that fuel to wake you up, like that is like, that's why I tell players, don't wait till you're done. Use it while you're playing. You don't even realize the network you have.
Yeah.
You are a current athlete. You are surrounded by so many people that say, I want to help you. What are you interested in? Take advantage of it and go get out of your comfort zone. I had no business starting a company. It took us 3 years to launch. We found our Twitter or our chemist over Twitter. Like,
wow.
Yes.
Fun.
Yes. But like, some people said, you four have no business background. You have no experience. What are you doing? And we're 10 years later, and Hustle Beauty is still a thing. And I'm proud of just saying yes and doing it together. And I think that's the last thing I'll say is like, the things that I'm involved with in Bay FC, it's part of a team. I have teammates. None of this was by myself. Like, I love still being part of a team. And that's what makes me so, like, all the things we learned as athletes, like, I'm still using them even though I don't play soccer anymore,
Of course.
I'm just with my teammates, creating. Reimagining.
And now you are in the business of football, right? So it's like these two things that might have seemed separate, like you've put them together with BFC, right? You get to have your first passion and your second passion. So Tobin and I want to know, what was it like when early days BFC? The first conversations, you're like, we're doing this.
Like the first little seeds.
The little seed was Angel City announcing their team. I called Julie Foudy immediately and I said, why didn't you tell me about this? And she's like, well, if you want to do it, why don't you go do it? That's literally what she said. And so I called Allie, Danielle, and Brandy and I said, if Angel City's doing it, we're doing it.
But like, that is why, like, honestly, all of this, all of the sports, the women's sports, like in our country, I feel like it's because of that, like, yeah, I did it. You go do it. Like it's that feeling of, I can go do it. You said it, see it, be it, like, and honestly, you all are the first, of my knowledge, and are the first co-founders that are from the U.S. Women's National Team, which is crazy.
It is crazy. That phone call was really what ignited it. And then, it took 3 years for us to launch it. And it was like total grassroots. A lot of people said no, and we were determined. But I think with our backgrounds, our credibility, our success, we learned so much from the previous 2, leagues that we had such a massive opportunity. And the fact there was no professional sports team in the Bay Area seemed absolutely wild to us. And, all of us have our own different little whys, why we wanted to do it. But my biggest why was like, I have like 3 little girls. They're like watching every move I make. Like literally, if I could build something that they could go out and do in their backyard, whether they go on and do it, the fact that they are inspired and motivated by these women that we are around all the time, like that is the best gift I can give my girls. And I am so damn proud of what we did because it took a long time. And then when we got that team for $53 million and we found our amazing partner, 6th Street, to launch in 9 months, it was the quickest runway ever to launch a professional sports team. And we did it. Yeah. And I look back, and it happened during COVID, and I had Izzy at the time just breastfeeding and nursing and on calls, and the girls, they just say, Mommy, you were on the phone so much. We were calling everybody. It was such a cool group of people, our OG investors that you both know too, that helped propel it and believe in us. And now when we come to PayPal and we watch our team play, and to see it sold out, 18,000 people, and just the environment that we've created, the inclusivity, the community behind the team, and how we're building this team and trying to put our players front and center is something that I don't think I'll ever do any sort of work like that again. It's the best work I'll do.
I'm very close to the Angel City founders too. And I do believe that the people who dreamed it first affect everything. Yeah. And I do believe that your ambition, your goals, what you care about does trickle down all the way to that fan who knows the stats versus knows, the face
celebrity,
or the celebrity, right?
Yeah.
And so you're such a big part of that. Yeah. So I think one thing I really want to know for you is, what does success look like for Bay FC? What's your big vision for where this could go?
Well, I think last year, going into our inaugural year, I think we've have different moments of like what our success looks like, right? Like getting the bid for $53 million, and then we're launching, and then last year was our inaugural year. So now going into year 2, the expectation is like the standard has gone to another level. We made the playoffs as a new franchise team, right?
Incredible.
So I think we're going into year 2 like, let's go. Let's continue this momentum, right? I think the game day experiences is something that we are super proud of. We're number 1 in the league in merch. I'm just saying,
which is amazing, by the way. That moves the needle. Like it really does.
It does. Yeah. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. When we created this brand and the B, it was something that we wanted that no matter where you are in the world, that people saw this B and one day know that that's Bay FC, and it's classy and everyone can wear it. And we're not just a soccer team. We're a lifestyle brand.
Exactly.
And a global brand. And so I think success going into year 2 is like, okay, can we make it further into the playoffs? Can we try to sell out every game? But I think the most important thing that we have to stay true to is continuing to embed our community. Like the Bay Area is big, very well. Oakland City, San Jose, they're all 45 minutes apart in the triangle, and just making everyone feel like they are part of what we are doing, and continuing to have that experience where when you come to our game, you came to a game, you played in the game, you came to the game. It feels different. Yeah. It's special. Yeah. You're close to the field. It's an atmosphere where everyone is included. You feel like you've got a live DJ here. You've got an artist painting a mural here. You've got the world's outdoor largest bar. Like, it's made for everyone.
We love that stadium. When we would go there with the national team, we loved playing there.
So cool.
So cool. It's for everybody.
Good and vibes there.
It's great vibes.
And also, what I really appreciated was the fans went to the rhythm of the game.
Oh, yeah.
they cheered for plays that like not a lot of people would see, you know, like a great slide tackle, and the fans would cheer for it. So it wasn't just like a goal. And I love
Osborne started the team. Of course, they're cheering for
A
slides.
lot of influence from Brandy and Allie and Danielle, as you know. Like we met with our supporters group like multiple times to work on cheers. Of
course you did.
Yeah, we're we're in it together. I mean, I'm glad to hear it's so reflective of like who we are and what we're trying to do and continue to grow the game and how much it's given to us and how we want to continue to pass that torch and, you know, creating a generational legacy for our girls. So like my girls think they're going to go play for Bay FC. Like, and I hope their kids, you know, can go like that's our goal. And that's what
maybe they'll start a new team.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe they'll start a new league.
That would be
It's just like, you know, like
it's endless. It is. What's possible is endless.
How many volleyball leagues and basketball leagues are popping up right now? We are experiencing something truly incredible, and the trajectory is just like still it's a rocket ship.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
One last question that I'd love to hear from you. So what are those like next little seeds? Like, have you already planted them? Where are they?
For Bay FC or just in general?
I think for Leslie.
Well, I was telling you guys earlier that I was a mom, stay-at-home mom, but I worked, of course, when my kids were not there. But I was home with my girls, and they're my number one priority. And I love that I wanted to be a mom so bad. So when I became a mom, I was like, oh my God. And I continued to do the other things, but being a mom is the most important thing to me. But now that Isabella is in school, I have 8 to 2 every day. And so I found this like ambition, like I've did a venture capitalist program this past summer. I mean, we've been angel investors for a long time, but I'm really trying to dig into more of the VC world. I did the Harvard Business School athletes crossover into business program. And now I've launched a show on Front Office Sports called Redefined. And I came up with this idea in COVID when I was nursing Izzy and I was watching Alex Morgan play in the 2021 Olympics that had been pushed back and thinking, oh my gosh, her and Charlie are separated because of the bubble. And I'm on my couch with Izzy nursing her. What different situations are we living right now, right? And I was like, this needs to be told. We need to storytell. We need to share more badass things that women and athletes and entrepreneurs are doing. All the hats that we wear and these multifaceted lives that I'm living, that we're all living, they need to be told. And so our new show is called Redefined. I get to have incredible guests on that have been doing this incredible work for so long and now giving them a platform to share their story and hope to give inspiration and also motivation to other people that are going through it. And sometimes we talk about when you see it, you can be it. Like if someone's story can be a difference maker in someone's life, like absolutely. So that's my seed. I am superly passionate about it. And I just want to continue to highlight all of the amazing women that we have been so lucky to be surrounded by.
It's incredible. Yeah.
You are a gift to us all. Thank you for opening pathways on and off the field.
Thank you.
And thank you for being so honest with us today. This has really moved me.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me and supporting me. And congratulations to everything you guys are doing. You are inspiring me. So.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Community Questions. Jessica from Los Angeles wants to know, if you could be a pro athlete in another sport, what would it be?
I think my family would have liked it to have been tennis.
True.
But I feel like I'm more of a team player.
You are, but you don't have to be.
Maybe soccer. I honestly don't want to play any other sport.
Like I love you nailed the answer. You can go to the next question.
Great.
That was really good.
Okay.
And really honest.
Jillian from Salt Lake City asks, Christen, can I challenge you to a tennis match?
No.
This is a very sporty community question.
Well, no.
Sports edition.
I can't play tennis. Under contract for Angel City. I am not in Salt Lake City. There's 100 other barriers.
Are you scared of facing off with Jillian?
Bridget from Indianapolis asks, do you believe in destiny?
Hell yeah. Everything's already written. We're just out here pretending like what we're doing matters.
Don't lie to the community.
Destiny? For sure. For sure.
What about autonomy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a nice thing that we tell ourselves.
I feel like you're just lying to our community, but people take you seriously. It's a dangerous thing to do.
No, I really do believe in destiny. Like, I do believe in free will. I also believe in, I truly believe that, our story was written for us before we were born.
You don't.
I don't know. That's a little Calvinism, I guess.
What?
Nothing.
Did you say wisdom?
No wisdom. I don't know. It's a complicated question, but do I believe in destiny? Yeah. I mean, to keep it simple. Well, I think like destiny, the idea of destiny is like as big as the universe, because if destiny is real, like all of these things have to line up for something to happen, right? And that's what I'm believing in. And I truly believe that. But then if you try to, in our human minds, like break that down to understand it, we'll never be able to understand it. So then you're like, okay, I guess I understand. Like if I'm hungry for a burger, like
it was your destiny to eat.
I'm gonna go to In-N-Out or something, you know.
That was better. Thank you.
Allison from Tennessee asks, we all know Tobin has an alter ego named Tobin. First off, it's not an alter ego, but that's fine. But does Christen have an alter ego?
Okay, the most important question here is, how did they spell Tobin?
Accurate. Tahbin.
Oh, they passed the test. They can have the question answered.
Okay, should I ask it again?
No, I was also listening. Multitasking.
Okay. Yeah, you're good at that.
Oh, I should have winked with my other eye because the camera couldn't see it.
I'm sure they saw a face twitch of some sort.
Well, the only alter ego that I have is Christine. Wait, it'll come to you. Christine.
This is hitting. Christine.
I knew you would get it.
Wait.
At the pool in Cabo.
Now I lost it. Oh, it's there.
It's at the pool in Cabo.
It's at the pool where you would carry around the latest Christine. I don't even know how to tell that story.
I think we got it.
It's been told. So you do have one. It's called Christine. But you have a lot of personalities, which it used to be that Christen kind of had this one public personality that was very professional,
likable, wholesome, excellent, quick-witted.
No, I think that's all fine. And like, and this one. Well, anyways, and I always felt like you have a large range of personality, but I think you save some for some people.
Absolutely. Well, first, I'm living the whole human experience, and the condition is quite broad. And secondly, IFS, internal family systems. We all have a bunch of personalities and parts because we're all cuckoo.
Love that.
Yep. Thank you so much for your questions. Dear community, how we love you. If you would like to get your question on the show, please join our community of reimaginers, and we will see you there. Want more of the recap show brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks? Like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.